The hype around the Indiana Fever this season, their complete roster overhaul, and all this, everybody talking about them, they have like a big target on their back.
Just think of what is going to happen when Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are going up against these tough teams in the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark's preseason debut drew 1.3 million viewers.
So they're going to be winning a lot more games, break NBA records as well.
More watched than any NBA preseason game since 2018.
Just 2 minutes ago, Caitlin Clark did the unthinkable. She broke LeBron James' preseason viewership record.
ESPN posted this today. It's from Flora Kelly. She says, LeBron and Clark. The Brazil Fever game came in at 1.3 million. Wonderful for a preseason game. Only 2 of ESPN's 57 NBA preseason games since 2010 drew a higher audience.
Let that sink in. Not an NBA superstar, not a 20-year veteran, a WNBA rookie just made history. Her debut didn't just attract millions of viewers. It crushed records, sold out arenas in minutes, and ignited a cultural wildfire that's sweeping across sports media, corporate sponsorships, and even youth basketball.
Whenever Caitlin Clark takes the floor, that maybe is different not only from any player in the WNBA, but from any player in basketball.
This isn't just a story about one player, it's about a movement, a shift, a new era, and in the next few minutes, we'll show you exactly how Caitlin Clark isn't just changing the WNBA. She's changing everything. April 2025, Indiana Fever versus Brazil, a WNBA preseason game. And yet the world was watching.
This still gave us a glimpse of what the difference of the Indiana Fever are like with Caitlin Clark and without Caitlin Clark. But with all the hype around the Indiana Fever this season, their complete roster overhaul, and all this, everybody talking about them, they have like a big target on their back.
1.3 million viewers on average, a peak of 1.66 million. That's not just good, it's record-shattering. More viewers than any NBA preseason game since 2018. Only 2 NBA preseason games in the last 14 years had more, and both featured LeBron James at his absolute peak. But now, the name on everyone's lips isn't LeBron, it's Caitlin Clark.
Totally LeBron-centric, and now we are totally Caitlin Clark-centric, so she's in pretty good company.
So the game averaged 1.3 million viewers. It peaked at 1.6 million, and this was up 13% over last year's regular season ESPN average for WNBA games.
Tickets sold out within an hour. Fans lined up for over 3 hours just to get in. The arena, packed with more than 13,000 fans, something unheard of for a preseason WNBA matchup. The atmosphere, not preseason, postseason level energy.
Tickets for this game actually sold out within the hour, and people were lining up for over 3 hours before the game just to get into this arena.
And she delivered 21 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. Logo threes from 36 feet, laser-sharp passes, show-stopping flair. This wasn't a debut, it was a statement. Caitlin Clark didn't just step onto the court, she took over the stage and rewrote the rules.
Caitlin Clark launching her 36-foot bomb from her logo. The Fever in general just started looking like a well-oiled machine. Caitlin Clark has the charisma, she has the personality, and she has the star power, and she has the statistics and the actual on-court talent to back everything up.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
And she's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person, and she has like a lot of aura, so like.
And the world noticed. This wasn't just a record-breaking game. It was the beginning of the Caitlin Clark effect. Let's talk money. The average ticket price for that preseason game, $670. Total gate revenue, nearly $10 million for a WNBA preseason game. That's not hype. That's a financial shift the league has never seen before.
So there were 14,998 people in attendance for this game. Average reported ticket price was $650. That is almost $9.75 million just for a WNBA preseason game.
TV networks are no longer sleeping on women's basketball. ESPN is broadcasting 41 out of 44 Indiana Fever games this season. That's nearly a full national schedule, a privilege once reserved for NBA elites.
Their fan base is going to grow even more because of the trickle-down effect that's happening with the Caitlin Clark effect and with the motion that the Indiana Fever has. And I truly think that this is going to be the first year in WNBA history that this league is profitable. And if they can continue down this path, and we've seen so many promising things with the way that the league is marketing their players now, the way they're marketing their teams now, the way that they're putting 41 out of 44 games on national television with the Indiana Fever.
Her jersey sold out. Her signature merch flying off shelves. And the brands? Nike, Gatorade, Wilson, they're lining up, throwing numbers at Clark that dwarf anything the WNBA has ever seen.
She hits her signature logo 3 from 36 feet, actually behind her signature logo that was on the court.
But this goes way deeper than just dollars. Across America, youth basketball programs are reporting a surge in girls signing up. Coaches say they're seeing kids pulling up from deep range, mimicking Caitlin's iconic logo 3s. Parents are naming her as the reason their daughters believe they belong on that court.
The biggest thing about this team, other WNBA teams are not going to be able to guard Caitlin Clark in the same way that they did during her rookie season because you have so many assets on the court now. You are not going to be able to trap Caitlin Clark because there are so many other threats on the floor.
Caitlin isn't just influencing fans, she's influencing the culture. She's become the face of modern basketball, not just women's basketball, period. If LeBron was the blueprint for 2 decades, Caitlin is the new era. She's shifting how sponsors invest, how media covers games, and how young girls dream. The Caitlin Clark effect is here, and it's transforming every layer of the game.
Caitlin Clark, folks. We weren't the only ones waiting around, hovering around our campfire, staying warm through the winter season. Man, is Caitlin Clark, is Fever basketball going to return?
Caitlin Clark's record-breaking debut wasn't just a sports story, it was an economic earthquake and a cultural reset. What happened that night extended far beyond the court, far beyond the box score. It was the ignition of something bigger, a phenomenon the sports world is now calling the Caitlin Clark effect.
These viewership and attendance numbers might not only break WNBA records, but they might break NBA records as well.
Within just hours of her WNBA preseason debut, the economic ripple effects began. Tickets to the Indiana Fever game were gone almost instantly, with resale prices skyrocketing past $670 per seat for a preseason game. The total revenue, nearly $10 million in one night. That's not just unprecedented for the WNBA, it's a figure that makes even NBA franchises pay attention.
Caitlin Clark's preseason debut drew 1.3 million viewers.
And this momentum didn't stop at the arena doors. Networks that had long relegated women's basketball to off-peak hours suddenly flipped the switch. ESPN, once cautious with its WNBA coverage, announced that 41 of the Fever's 44 games this season would be nationally televised. That's nearly a full season broadcast commitment, something previously reserved only for superstar-led NBA teams. And why? Because Caitlin Clark draws eyes. She moves the needle like no one else in the league's history.
Caitlin Clark, 1.3 million views. Now you know. Caitlin Clark, more than any NBA preseason game since 2018. Now you know. Caitlin Clark, all but 2 NBA preseason games since 2010. Now you know. Caitlin Clark not only moves the needle, she is the needle, and people are reacting to this as we all should. The standard, the needle, the motion, the aura, the Caitlin Clark, the one close to the WNBA Finals for a preseason exhibition game. The Fever is going to hit big numbers this season and should be on national TV, not 41 out of 44, but 64 out of 44 games.
But the most powerful change isn't just what she's doing to schedules or ticket prices, it's what she's doing to people. Across the country, parents are signing their daughters up for youth basketball at record rates. Coaches are seeing kids pull up from the logo in practice, inspired by Clark's fearless style. On social media, teens mimic her moves, wear her number, and talk about her like she's already a legend. because to them, she is.
Just think of what is going to happen when Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are going up against these tough teams in the WNBA, and the Indiana Fever is going to be a much better team than they were last season. So they're going to be winning a lot more games. There are going to be true rivalries.
Her influence is now a marketing blueprint. Major brands like Nike, Gatorade, and Wilson aren't just interested, they're investing, offering deals that completely dwarf anything previously seen in the WNBA. And they're not doing it out of charity. They're doing it because Caitlin Clark is good for business. She sells jerseys, she gets views, she commands attention, and she does it all without a scandal, without ego, just pure performance and presence.
To put this into context, 1.3 million. Only 2 of ESPN's NBA preseason games have scored a higher rating than Caitlin Clark. Both of the NBA games that rated higher involved LeBron. 1.3 million people tuned in on Sunday afternoon to see Caitlin Clark return to Iowa as a professional and start raining in three-pointers from ridiculous distances.
It is unbelievable what it is Caitlin Clark does.
But even deeper than the sponsorships and screen time is what Caitlin represents. She's breaking down barriers that have stood for decades, walls that told little girls, you can play, but no one's really watching. Caitlin changed that in a single night. She didn't just earn a spotlight, she became the spotlight. This isn't a temporary wave of interest. It's not a fluke. It's not a trending moment. It's a foundational shift. A rookie has altered the trajectory of an entire professional league. And the message is loud and clear. Women's basketball is not secondary. It's main stage. And Caitlin Clark is leading the way. Caitlin Clark isn't just boosting the WNBA, she's rebuilding it from the ground up. In real time. Before our eyes.
We would see the day where WNBA numbers were overtaking NBA numbers. And you guys, I predict that this is going to be something that happens for the entirety of the WNBA season, especially with this Indiana Fever team. This is motion. This is hype like we have never seen. And I thought it was going to be like this. But when you see the numbers right in front of you, 1.3 million viewers for a preseason game, and a preseason game where they won by 64 points. Becca Lobo also gave some context, and she said since 2010, only 2 NBA preseason games outrated this game, and that was in 2018, the Warriors versus the Lakers, when LeBron had his first game in LA, and that averaged 2 million viewers. And also in 2017, it was the Bulls versus the Cavs, and that was LeBron again after they had just lost in the finals, and that game averaged 1.37 million viewers.
Before she even played a single regular season game, the impact was already seismic. Her presence alone has forced the league, the media, and even her opponents to recalibrate everything. She isn't just another talented rookie. She's a once-in-a-generation catalyst, a player whose influence can't be boxed into stats or highlight reels. What she's doing is reshaping the structure of the WNBA itself.
I do think that this is going to be the biggest WNBA season that we have ever seen when it comes to attendance, when it comes to viewership, when it comes to jersey sales, when it comes to merch sales. It's going to be the biggest that we have seen. Just think of what is going to happen when Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are going up against these tough teams. So they're going to be winning a lot more games. There are going to be true rivalries.
She is like the face of basketball right now, at least like for the younger generation, because like who is the face of basketball if you're not talking about LeBron James or Steph Curry in the NBA? And you know what? He probably can.
For years, the league struggled with visibility. Attendance was modest. Television ratings barely registered on major networks. Merchandise sales trickled in, and corporate sponsorships were cautious, hesitant, almost reluctant. But the moment Caitlin Clark stepped onto the court, all of that changed. She's turned Fever games into traveling spectacles. Cities are moving their games to larger arenas just to accommodate the demand to see her play.
It has also been reported, as we know, that 41 out of 44 of the Indiana Fever's games will be on national television. So this is not only good for the Indiana Fever, this is great for the entire WNBA. But if we look back at 2024, here are the top games from that 2024 season. 3.3 million, the Indiana Fever versus the Chicago Sky game on June 23rd was the most watched WNBA game on any network in the past 23 years, peaking at 3.3 million viewers. 2.97 million viewers was the Indiana Fever versus the Connecticut Sun, and that became the most viewed WNBA game on ESPN platforms in history, peaking at 2.97 million viewers. This was, I believe, Caitlin Clark's last game in the WNBA. And then also, of course, the WNBA All-Star Game had 3.4 million viewers, and that's the most watched WNBA program in ESPN history. If you guys remember, that was Team USA versus the WNBA All-Stars, where the WNBA All-Stars beat Team USA, and there was that whole drama about leaving Caitlin Clark off of that Team USA team. A lot of people, including myself, thought that she should have been brought to the Olympics, but she wasn't, and her team there ended up winning that game.
That's unheard of for a rookie. Entire arenas, home arenas of opposing teams are selling out because of Caitlin. Her games feel like playoff matchups, not preseason exhibitions. This isn't hype anymore. It's a shift in how women's sports are consumed. And it's not just the fans or the arenas that are changing. The game itself is evolving because of her.
More watched than any NBA preseason game since 2018, all but 2 NBA preseason games since 2010.
With so much motion and hype and fire that this Indiana Fever team has behind them, when they are going up and they are going to these different arenas and going up against these different teams, it's so much more exposure for these other teams and these other players for people to become fans of, to get invested in, to want to watch their games as well.
Coaches are rewriting game plans. Defenses are scrambling to figure out how to guard someone who can pull up from 36 feet with ease. She's forcing teams to stretch their defense, speed up their pace, and rethink their strategies. Her presence on the floor demands excellence, not just from her teammates, but from her opponents too. She's raising the bar, and everyone's reaching for it.
I didn't plan to shoot that logo 3. I know coming into the game, everybody wanted me to shoot one from there. But Steph was like, was supposed to come out at the end of the third, so she's like, give a foul, give a foul, give a foul. And then it was 30 seconds on the clock, which like between 30 to 33, that's like your 2-for-1 range where you have to get one up. So I saw 30 as we're inbounding the ball, which probably is inbounding the ball at 30, probably a little low. But I was like, why not?
More importantly, her leadership is contagious. She doesn't just put up numbers, she builds chemistry, commands the floor, and elevates everyone around her. Teammates are getting more shine. Rivalries are intensifying, storylines are forming, and suddenly the WNBA isn't just background noise, it's daily headline material. For the first time in league history, the WNBA looks poised to become profitable. And that's not because of a marketing push or a media stunt. It's because one player showed up and turned interest into investment, viewership into loyalty, potential into performance. Caitlin Clark isn't just a boost to the league. She is the blueprint for what the future of women's basketball looks like.
She made a homecoming, and the arena was less than half full. 13,215 available seats. They didn't even sell half of those. One is moving the needle. The other one is not even fluttering it.
It's crazy how one player can implement a change so massive, and that is Caitlin Clark.
And perhaps the most powerful part of all, she's doing it with humility, with grace, with a relentless work ethic. She deflects praise to her teammates, credits her coaches, thanks the fans. And every single time she laces up and hits the hardwood, she does it with the focus of someone who knows the weight she carries and chooses to carry it anyway.
Caitlin Clark breaking the record at $440 per average ticket to get into this game. That record was rebroken and increased to $670 per ticket. Couldn't help myself. Haters, read it and weep.
This is just a really high quality team, I think, and I look forward to seeing the rest, as it looks like they just scored their 100th point of the game against Brazil. I do not believe the Chicago Sky did as well against Brazil as Indiana is right now.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
Yeah, she's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person, and she has like a lot of aura, so like.
And Caitlin mentioned that once again.
What is possible for this group this year?
Yeah, a championship. That's our goal, and I think working every single day.
She isn't just playing in the WNBA. She's carrying it into a new golden era. Caitlin Clark didn't just break LeBron's record, she broke barriers. She didn't just light up the scoreboard, she lit a fire under an entire league. From sold-out arenas to primetime broadcasts, from little girls picking up a basketball to legends tipping their hats, she's not just changing the game. She is the game. And this is just the beginning. If you believe Caitlin Clark deserves the respect, protection, and spotlight she's earned, drop 100 in the comments right now. Let's drown out the noise and show the world that women's basketball is here to stay, and Caitlin Clark is leading the charge. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell because the era of Caitlin Clark, it's only getting started.